So, I have just got done watching the 5th episode of the 11th and final season of my favourite show of all time, The Walking Dead, called Out of the Ashes. So, this episode was pretty good in my opinion, guys. It was much better than the previous one in my opinion, and a bit, shall I say, less disturbing in some ways. But yeah, there were some things that were quite unsettling, which I'm going to get to, but yeah. I thought it was a pretty decent episode in my opinion, so yeah. So anyway, this is me, Lucamus Prime, and you can join me as I review the 5th episode of Walking Dead titled Out of the Ashes. Alright, so what's this episode about? So, we're going to be talking spoilers here, guys. So if you haven't seen the episode already, please go watch it before you see this review. So, this episode began with a very unsettling intro where we see Aaron is in the middle of some sort of like dark forest with his adoptive daughter Gracie, and he came across several enemies in this dream. And many of them are, of course, characters that have already been encountered before. For example, we got some Whisperers, and of course, normal walkers. And we also saw a wolf as well, guys. You know, that band of, of that gang of people with a W scarred on their foreheads from series 5 and 6 of the show. Yeah, it was very surprising to see them coming back for this brief scene. And then during this scene, Gracie vanishes and Aaron is left on his own, surrounded by his enemies, and they all begin to stab him. But then after this, Aaron awakens from this, which is revealed to be just a nightmare. So yeah, thank God he's not really dead. And what's cool is we even got a brief shot of Maze from, series, 10C, played by Patrick, yelling, which woke Aaron up. And luckily, we to find that he and Gracie are both okay and they're in their home in Alexandria. We then cut to Jerry, who is waking up, and as he goes to a toilet and he looks outside a window, he sees a shocking sight being a walker inside the gates roaming around. And he alerts his family, everyone else of the breach, and then we see everyone fighting in the walkers, and it's real that they've managed to break up and through the wall and are crawling in. And there's actually quite a large group of them, and some Alexandrians got killed, sadly. But luckily, the group is able to hold them back. Aaron struggles too with his metal arm, but luckily he's able to at the last moment, and they're able to place the wall back in. But the problem is the wall is losing its integrity, meaning that soon it might cave in if too many walkers pile up at the wall. And of course, there's also the problem that Alexandria is low on food. Rosita encourages that the group should probably consider moving away from Alexandria, but Aaron shuts her down, saying that this is their home. So Carol has an idea, which is where they'll go to the ruins of Hilltop to get tools to repair the wall. So yeah, there was many different stuff, arcs and steps which I'm going to get through. Let's start with the Hilltop one first. So in Hilltop's ruins, we see Carol, Lydia, Jerry, and Aaron heading there, and it's in ruins. It's all burnt down, and we see loads of familiar faces there that have burnt. And as walkers, for example, one they recognise is someone called Troy, who is now a walker. And yeah, so the group puts them out of their misery by stabbing them in their heads to stop them from being walkers. But then, as they begin to search for tools, they notice the walkers are moving in a very strange formation in circles, and they realise they're being herded by Whisperers. So they take down walkers, and then they find the Whisperer, who is called Keith, I think he's called Keith, who says he's alone. Lydia pleads for mercy because she recognises him, but Aaron doesn't want to take chances, so he drags Keith into a nearby basement where it's discovered they find other Whisperers. But it's revealed that they just want to go back to normal and not be Whisperers anymore. So this makes Aaron really angry, but in this distraction, Keith is able to take a knife and slice Aaron, but luckily Aaron isn't wounded. But this distracts the protagonist to allow the Whisperers to escape, leaving only Keith behind. So this makes Aaron angry, so he strings Keith up by his hands to a wall on a ceiling, and he brings a walker in, and he threatens to let the walker bite Keith if Keith lies. Keith keeps on lying, so eventually Aaron lets the walker bite his hand. So yeah, time is ticking, guys, and so this means he's not got long left, and Aaron gives him a choice to cut off his hand before the infection spreads. And this brutality of Aaron upsets Lydia, so Carol puts down the walker, and Aaron lashes out at Carol for this, because he's doing what he's doing because, of what Whispers did. But she encourages him not to lose himself, and she uses her own experience with Alpha as an example. Carol and Lydia then send Keith off with some food, and he thanks them for their kindness and insists that his people have changed. But then, as about to leave, he tells them something, that he spotted one of their people from the cave-in. This excites Carol, and this person, as revealed by, the trailer for the next episode, is implied to be Connie, who went missing. So, and it was implied that she would have been alive, yeah, based on the scene where she was in the mud, and appeared to be alive. So, yeah, I think she will be appearing in the next episode, I think based on the trailer for the next one. So that's the end of the Hilltop subplot. Now we get on to the Commonwealth, where we got introduced by a pretty strange, some sort of like TV commercial, which more like 80s style or something. And yeah, when it played, I thought, there was like an advert in the break, but nope, it was for the Commonwealth, yeah. And this Commonwealth looked pretty interesting. It reminded me a lot of Woodbury, guys, where it looked like a normal town. It looked pretty cool. So Eugene, Yumiko, Princess, and Eugene get granted access, and they receive an assigned job and a bunker. Princess is excited by the prospects of possibly working retail in a mall, but Yumiko gets a special letter inviting her to discuss opportunities in the Commonwealth's great community. So Eugene plans to meet up with Stephanie, and Yumiko wants to look about what her letter means, and Princess and Ezekiel head out to explore the grounds. And then Yumiko finds her brother Tommy, who is now a baker, but now a former surgeon who wants to move on from his medical life. So we get a nice reconciling scene, but he drops his cake, so yeah. Eugene goes on an ice cream date with Stephanie, and then he strikes a deal to contact the people in Alexandria. So Stephanie offers to sneak him into a communications room, and Princess helps by distracting Mercer with some flirting, but unfortunately, it goes horribly wrong, because after Eugene contacts Rosita and Judith, Mercer breaks in and he arrests them for using the communications without authorization, and Eugene, Ezekiel, and Princess are arrested and are charged with a series of crimes, including reckless endangerment. They demand to speak to Yumiko because she's a lawyer. They deny their rights as asylum seekers, but then the guy from the video who welcomed them into the Commonwealth enters with Stephanie, and he orders them to let them go. He's called Lance, yeah, Lance. And Stephanie says that Lance is someone they can trust, but they still have to pay for their crimes. So yeah. Then we get on to another subplot involving Maggie and Negan, who are on their way to their destination. They reach it. Negan wants to take the food back to Alexandria and avoid encountering Reapers again, but Maggie demands that they wait for the others. But they eventually decide to agree to wait until the sun goes down, and if no one shows, they leave the house they're staying in. Despite their agreement, however, Negan tries to leave the following morning, which makes Maggie angry, and they become physical, but then they're interrupted because Gabriel arrives with another survivor. I think it was Elijah. I think it was Elijah. And they interrupt the fight, and Maggie tells Gabriel about the others that could still be alive, and also that Alden is holed up in the church safe because he was injured. And the priest backs up Gabriel, and he insists they wait it out, much to Negan's dismay. So yeah, and there's also something else that happened with Judith as well that really annoyed me, where basically she's training kids how to use swords, when she notices some, children of Alexandria are messing around with walkers at the gates, who are, being silly, and, are putting their hands near a walker that's, peeling in through the broken wall, and then when it tries to bite a thing, they move it quickly, which I thought was really stupid and reckless because it could get bitten. So I was on Judith's side. She tried to stop them, but then he was... The lead bully was really nasty. I hated him. He was so nasty to Judith. And he said, it's no wonder your mum abandoned you, you know, Michonne. But that really upset Judith, and she threatened him with her little sword. And it's called a Shontor, yeah. But yeah, I felt really bad for Judith, guys. And especially because what happens later... Because he and his gang of bullies, they break, you know, those piece of wood which Judith and Carl's hands were painted onto. So yeah, they broke it. So yeah, I really did not like that bully at all, guys. The lead bully, I don't know his name. Goodness me, he was so annoying, I hated him. Really mean character. Luckily, though, Rosita cheers up Judith by helping her repair the wood, thankfully. And that's, of course, when Eugene contacts them as well, yeah. So yeah. So what I like about this episode, you know, I liked the plot of the hilltop with the surviving whisperers and, you know, with Aaron's story as well, how he's still, you know, shaken by the past. And I did like Maggie Negan's subplot of, you know, getting to a destination and, you know, the tension between them. I did like that, but I hated the guy who bullied Judith. It was just very annoying. And the Commonwealth part was very interesting as well. I'd love to see where that goes as well, but yeah. I think the next episode will be focusing more on Connie now that we know she's alive. It might be an episode about her, maybe showing what she went up to since going missing, maybe. I'll have to wait and see. So, guys, this is me reviewing the 5th episode of The Walking Dead's final season called Out of the Ashes. So, you know, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys thought of today's episode of Walking Dead. If you've seen it, let's see what your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for more videos in the future, and I'll see you all later.